Welcome everyone. We're very excited. So thank you all so much for giving up your evening to be on our first webinar for the Sharanis Orphanage charity project in Thailand. As you all know, this is a project that has been very close to my heart for many, many years. And I'm very excited that we have Di Morgan on board, and I'll introduce her in just a moment. So Di is based in Sydney, and she has come on board as not only my brand manager, but also in charge of this whole corporate social responsibility project, and is going to be really the brains, the driving force behind this charity fundraising event that we're doing in August and putting the committee together. And this is something that she's done, and I'll let her explain her background in just a moment, but this is something she's done before successfully, and I'm just so blessed and honoured to have Di on the team, because you know, it's great to have visions like this, but unless you have the right people around you, they literally will always be just a vision. So I'll introduce her to you in just a moment. Now, we do have, as you know, with Webinar Jam, a couple of second lag. So if someone could just say hello in the chat box, let me know that the sound is good. Before I introduce Di and we get started, I want to make sure that the sound is working. You can see the presentation screen in front of you. If someone can type and let me know that that's all good, and then we'll get started. Just waiting for that to come through. Okay, perfect. Everyone can hear us and can see the screen. Wonderful. Thank you so much for letting me know. So, Di, I would like to introduce you to everyone, and if you can please say hello and then also tell us a little bit about your background, and then we can get started into the webinar tonight. So welcome, Di.
Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for giving up your valuable time to support, you know, Shah's incredible vision of Sharanis Orphanage, and it is such a privilege to be able to be a part of that myself. And so a little bit of background on me. I've held national marketing roles for not-for-profit organisations and set up charities internationally. One in particular was, some of you may have heard of Christopher Howard, and he's very much like a Tony Robbins figure, and I was working as a national marketing manager for Mission Australia at the time and got involved in NLP and some other trainings that would help me with my staff. I had over 3,000 staff around the country that were helping very marginalised people, disadvantaged, battered women, drugs and alcohol abuse, homelessness, long-term unemployment and so forth. And these, you know, these beautiful people, as the government dictates, they needed to find jobs and get back into the community. But some of the challenges with that were that they had mental health issues and personal self-esteem issues and all those, and, you know, housing issues and potentially even drug and alcohol issues. So the staff that were saying, okay, you guys need to get into training, or you need to be educated, or you need to dress better, smell better, personal hygiene, all those sorts of things. And unfortunately, the only thing that a lot of these people had control of was their ability to basically turn up for a job interview knowing that they probably wouldn't get it because they hadn't been in a job for 20 years, or they didn't have the skill sets anymore because technologies had changed and so forth. So they turn up because they had to get their benefits, and they'd turn up with no shoes on, and they'd turn up chewing gum and smelling awful, but that was the way that they had control, knowing that they couldn't get these jobs, knowing that they couldn't be put down once again. And so when I trained the staff in some of the personal development techniques that I'd learned as a master trainer and practitioner in personal development tools, I found that we increased getting people into jobs, we increased people getting out of that really deep hole that they may have been in, and getting back into society, which was just a privilege. And so when Chris asked me to set up his charity, the Christopher Howard Alliance for the Academy of Wealth and Achievement, I set it up across Australia, New Zealand, the UK, the US, Hong Kong, Ireland, and it was phenomenal. It was hard work, but it's, you know, something that exactly what we're doing now for Shah, and it's going to be starting at the annual conference, which is really exciting in August. So you guys are the trailblazers. You are the pioneers in setting this up. And I think what I really want out of this is for each and every one of us to showcase our skill sets, because we're all so outstandingly clever, and we have networks of people that we can tap into, that is not only going to help obviously raise the funds and begin this process of this social enterprise, this not-for-profit organisation that is going to help these incredible girls. It's also giving you an opportunity, and me coming from a corporate background then going into not-for-profit, and having, I've had some fairly phenomenal health scares in my short time, and what that's actually led me to see was that life is short, that sometimes we get a second chance, and for whatever reason we bounce back up. And I know that all of you, as either working or as business owners, we've all got a story to tell. We've all got challenges that we faced and overcome, and some that we may be still in. But by being able to give back and build our own profiles as philanthropic entrepreneurs, and having that strong corporate social responsibility philosophy as an extension of us and our businesses, that this actually gives you reason to contact maybe a business that you wanted to contact and develop a relationship with within your own business, but you didn't quite have that key to get in there. Well, going in on a philanthropic entrepreneurial manner will give you that ability to make the phone call, have that coffee meeting, and start developing that relationship to not only gain their trust and build your own business with them, but also obviously increase the opportunities for Sharanis Orphanage and the funds that we can raise, getting bums on speaks for being quite crude for the event. And we want people there at the event that are going to, one, support us wholeheartedly, and then that'll be a flow-on effect through their businesses and getting them to support us as a charity of choice, or the not-for-profit and the social enterprise of choice. And as time goes on and we're getting clearer on the definition of whether it's a charity or a social venture, I think that we want your feedback, we want your expertise, and there's no right or wrong questions throughout this whole journey. What I would really hope that everyone is open to doing is to committing, by being here alone tonight, to putting in the time, 5 hours a week for the next 23 weeks. And it might be that some weeks you might put in 8 hours and you do 1 hour the next week. But if we can sort of average it out to 5 sort of hours a week, and we'll have to add a few more as we lead up to the actual event itself in July, I think that it's going to be such an awesome opportunity to learn, to grow, to support each other, to pat each other on the back because of all the little wins, because it's going to take a lot of little wins to make that big one. And as hard as this may seem, and thinking 23 weeks is not long away, it's not. But with extraordinary women like yourselves, I'm so excited about hopefully supporting you and giving you ideas and concepts and ways to get through doors that you may have thought were closed, to get to those people that we need to support us for this event, and obviously ongoing with the building and the 3 phases. As Shara sort of pointed out to everyone, we're going to do this in a 3-phase sort of project level, and it's preparing, it's building, it's then the launching of running, and the sustainability of the orphanage. And there's so many areas in which we want you to choose how you get involved, and potentially you might have girlfriends, or husbands may have mates, and all those sorts of things that may not be now a part of the Y Network, but want to be a part of something bigger. And then we can show them what being a part of the Y Network is all about as well, which is awesome. But we can actually invite people in to support us with this project who want to get their hands dirty and get down and and help build this from scratch and help be a part of phase 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. So, are there any questions so far?
No, Russ is on board as well tonight. So we've got one brave guy who's roped in, we've been and Russ has been doing this, not me, but he's been looking into the social enterprise venture and for profit. So for those that, we won't bore you with all the details, but for those that don't know, Di had suggested that we look at rather than setting up as a charity, because there has been so many people that have done wrong things by charities. Charities are kind of the old way to do things, and the more favourable way moving forward is actually to look at being a social enterprise that is for profit. However, we still have the orphanage and we still set it up kind of like a charity within that. But that's what Russ is looking at the moment and talking to Di about, and we're talking to other organisations that have set up a social enterprise, and there are a lot of crowdfunding groups out there as well who have a whole section now for your social enterprise venture. So you can actually we could actually list Sharanis Orphanage, which is one of the things we are seriously considering doing, and raising the funds through there to get all the approvals for the setup and to get the lawyer on board and to get an auditor. And we need funds for those things. So we can actually raise that through crowdfunding, so we don't have to touch the money that we've already put aside for the orphanage, and we can actually focus on making sure that does go to the girls, because ultimately we don't want to use funds where we don't have to. So we are leaning more towards that, and within the next couple of weeks we will definitely make a decision, and then we will go ahead and do that. So if we do pop up on a crowdfunding site, we will let you know, so that you can let your networks know as well to throw in 10, 20, 50, 100, whatever dollars they can, because that's how we can make this happen.
And I think that's look, what I'm really excited about is that I've done a lot of research, everybody, on where things are at the moment after working in not-for-profits, and obviously raising a lot of money over the years for different charities that I've supported. Social enterprises are the latest, greatest things, because what they're also doing is not just having people with really good hearts get involved, and without sounding cliche, a lot of people within charities have really good hearts but not the acumen to do the jobs, and we want people that are actually using their smarts, their networks, their abilities, rather than spending a lot of money on administrative costs that aren't going to be bringing back the outcomes that we want, and tying them up in all those extraneous costs that that go within building charities. And unfortunately, a lot of them, even though there's by law there has to be 40 cents out of every dollar. To me, that's not good enough. And as a social enterprise, you're going to have smart people that are going to be bringing in a lot of for-profit dollars that can then get funneled into the charities, but also give them, each of those people that get involved, a greater part of being, doing part of their own corporate social responsibility. And as a social enterprise, that basically means that everything that the Y Network stands for, they're making money, and that's fantastic, but it is also about giving back to the community through the courses and everything that Shah's doing. It's all set up about a social enterprise. It's about all of us, building our own businesses through the strengths of the networking, and it's about, Sharanis Orphanage, on top of that, being a separate entity, but it is still about, we can raise money, and it's not just about putting Band-Aid fixes on. It's about the social enterprise, which means the girls are going to get educated, they're going to be housed, they're going to be fed, but they're going to be taught how to feed themselves, they're going to be taught how to go out and get a job, they're going to be taught how to build their own self-esteem and have that inner strength. That's part of social enterprise, not just about the Band-Aids where we hug and we love them, which we'll do over and above all of that as well. It's about fulfilling their lives in ways that it's not a handout, it's a hand up.
Absolutely, and it's equipping them with life skills. So it doesn't matter what's happened to them, we can equip them with life skills so that they can go out and make a life for themselves, and we can start to change that pattern that happens over there. So, Di, what I've actually done is put together on the next slide, which I'll just click through. So I've taken from our email that we sent out that you'd helped us put together, so that we can go through, because some of the people had questions around, I want to put my hand up, I'm happy to help, but I really don't know what's behind each one of these sort of titles. So and Felicity's okay, no, everyone's fine, they've got no questions at the moment. So I just thought if you wouldn't mind taking people through the phases in sort of a brief, and then let's get stuck into phase one and what all the roles are and how people can be involved, please.
Bill, this is exciting. You guys have already decided and you've made the decision to join phase 1, and I hope that will then lead on to phase 2 and phase 3, and then huge opportunities for you personally and hopefully professionally as well, as you might be able to go across to Thailand. And as the Sharanis Orphanage grows, there might be multiple orphanages around the world as time goes by. So there's a lot of opportunity to travel and showcase your own businesses over there. What phase 1 is about is joining committee. Now, the first one is to set up the not-for-profit, and as we're saying, the social enterprise right now. If you or anyone you know has legal expertise, we'd love to hear from you that can support, and even just pointing us in the right direction. You may not be a lawyer or a solicitor. You might be, a paralegal, or know someone who's a paralegal, who at least could organise a meeting for Russ and myself and Shah to go and just have a chat about how we set this up. There are obviously going to be costs involved because, unfortunately, filing for all these sorts of stuff, the courts are going to expect. They won't do that for free. We'd need an admin team. So if their strengths are being a really organised person, that wants to kind of drive the administration part of saying, okay, Shah, you need to do this and sign this. This has come through. Russ, can you do that? Di, can you do this? The legal team have just come back. And you're kind of like the project manager and sort of heading up what needs to go out, paperwork, maybe even you would be in charge of leading each of the team fundraising managers and reporting back to Shah, myself and Russ. So if that's something that you think, that's a leadership role that I'd like to have, within each of these teams there will be a team leader or a manager that's going to sort of oversee these particular roles. The finance manager, treasurer, we need teams. So it might be one person puts their hand up to be the finance manager or treasurer of the entire Sharanis Orphanage, and then underneath them we build a team. So if you don't think, look, I don't want that responsibility, but hey, I'll stick my hand up and I want to be the person that is collecting the funds and keeping a record, so that by the time we do actually get the status for tax deductibility and so forth, and that can take a little bit of time. So for this one, it is more about the love, and people will be raising funds purely for the love and not having an expectation to get a tax deductibility at this point in time. That could change in 23 weeks. We're not sure what the process is going to be, and it may be quicker than we hope, but from experience this can take substantial time to get that tax deductibility. So what we want to do is have that treasurer that still keeps an eye on things, because we will get audited. Everything we do needs to be streamlined. It needs to be articulately resourced and presented in bookkeeping perspectives, organisational structure. If it's someone that has a strength with project management, again, and this is based on setting up of the whole social enterprise, and then it will filter out into the different committees and how the event's going to work, because this, the major gala event in the weekend workshop, the annual conference, is just one part of the charity. There's going to be ongoing things that I hope each and every one of you might run a barbecue once a month. Bring 10 of your friends over, charge $10. Well, that's $100 a month, and with 10 of us doing it, there's $1,000 a month. If there's 20 of us doing it, well, obviously exponential, and that's just little things that can happen for people to get together and having your own little wine networking meetings, but with a difference. So if someone wants to be that person and loves to be organised and dictate how that's going to work, they'd work in conjunction, obviously, with the finance manager or treasurer. So just have a think about if you want to be a part of setting up and managing the process of the social enterprise and not-for-profit division. Are there any questions on that? Another mum or dad that you think, what, they would be able to do 5 hours a week, an hour a day, during Monday to Friday with the kids at school, just sort of going through emails or doing some research on different things from more of an administrative internal office team with the setup.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Great description. So nothing's coming through as wet, except Russ is saying that the finance treasury role should probably be handled between Russ and I, but there may be someone in the group who actually has a background in the finance sector, has worked in that industry before. So it's probably someone that Russ and I can talk to and utilise their skills, but then of course we'll oversee it.
Oh, look, absolutely.
So
You and Russ are on top of everything. So that's my side.
yeah.
So,
Definitely.
but I think just from a legal perspective, having an accredited chartered accountant
definitely
is something that we need. And you might look, even if you guys have a local bank manager that that you know really well, you may want to volunteer the time. They can become the treasurer, and obviously then they'll report to the finance manager, which would be Russ and Shah. So yeah, that's fantastic, Shah.
Excellent. Yep. No other questions, I don't think, from anyone. But guys, if you do have questions, because things might come into mind, or you might have a question that something we haven't covered, either way, please feel free to write it down, because we want to make sure that we're answering your questions as we go. And of course, we'll be available after the webinar as well, because there's a few people who can't join it live, so you're getting the recording. So if you're listening to the recording later, then please still ask it in the Facebook group, or certainly we'll give our email addresses at the end, and you can email us and ask, because we do want to get these roles filled with as soon as we can, because we are on a clock with 23 weeks left. So if you have questions, please ask them. So yep, keep going, Di. Thank you. That's great.
Fundraising committee, this is critical right now because we are against the clock. I'd love someone to put their hand up to be the fundraising manager, and actually what that will mean is to guide, mentor, and I mean I'll obviously be working with you in that as well. But I want someone to take ownership of everybody in the different roles that I've suggested. So major gift officers, and what that means is someone that may be working in the corporate world, or someone that may work in travel or hospitality. Again, they could just be mum, head of the P&C, that has ability to tap into other networks where people will have small business, large businesses, etc., to get goods and services. And I put in there including food and beverage. And at the moment, Shah is working on working with the hotel and the actual event itself. But one of the things in the past that I've been able to do with a major event, and it is getting harder as time goes on, is to actually even get the raw ingredients donated. So, for example, if we charge, there are 3 or 4 levels of eating, with the VIP, potentially being $1,000 a head or $500 a head, whatever it may be. Normal ticket prices are $295. That we're sort of playing with that at the moment to come to the actual gala dinner. But if we get the chicken breast and the salmon, or the rib, the Scotch fillet, or the mahi fit, whatever it may be, if we can get some of those things, and we're looking at say $100 a head, we're just going to be covering off entertainment, room hire, which we're working with, getting most of these things donated, but there are some things that we will have to pay for, obviously. But major gift officers are going to be people that have connections, or that want to even play a bit of a game and go, okay, I've never thought that I could do this for myself, but I can do it for someone else because I'm passionate about getting these girls looked after. I'm passionate about getting this land bought. I'm passionate about being able to say to my clients, hey, I just got, oh my God, I went to Buttercup and I got all the bread rolls donated, or I went to, so-and-so meats and they donated all the produce, and they're going to become a sponsor of the evening. They might give us $1,000 in kind, but they're actually donating $20,000 in meat. So
absolutely,
it's major gift officers, and it can be money and goods or services. It may be that in the hotel you might say, actually, I know my girlfriend's husband's sister's cousin is head of banquets for the Intercon, and I'm going to contact them and see if we can put a call out to their staff to see who would volunteer their time. Obviously, we'd need the hotel to cover off personal liability or public liability insurance. Oh, but maybe someone knows someone in, QBE insurance, and they can get the personal liability and public professional indemnity and all that sort of stuff covered, so that you've got over $20 million in coverage as well. So what we could be doing is actually saving on paying wages for the food and bar staff. We can do certificates up. So if anyone's got marketing heads, and I'm sort of digressing a little bit, but these major gift officers need to think outside the square. What's going to be in it for these people? Why would they give their goods and services? Well, there's PR opportunities. There's obviously goodwill. There's corporate social responsibility. there's maybe a certificate, or not maybe, we will do certificates once we get registered and so forth, so that can go on their walls. We'll frame it even. We'll go to, if anyone has know someone in the reject shop, or they can have, frames worth that are normally $15. We'll put the certificates in those beautiful frames. We'll get a graphic designer if anyone knows someone that can design this exquisite rice paper handmade. Maybe we get it from Thailand. There's all these different things that I want everyone to keep their heads on. They may think, oh, okay, well, I work in this role and I could get some gifts, but let's think outside that square. And together, this is where the fundraising manager, myself, Shah, and other team members, when we start getting into the marketing area, if you've got ideas that it's going to just make this event shine over and above other fundraising events where you get this bland, boring, cold 3-course meal and you turn up, you go, and you kind of sit there and it's not really fun. This is going to be fun. This is going to be empowering. This is going to be exciting for you, and I want it to be exciting for your businesses so that you can leverage off it as well. So major gift officers, I hope I've explained what that means. Bequest officers, that could be someone that maybe works again in legal. It could be someone that works in retirement villages. It could be someone that works with parents at P&C, saying, okay, let's start getting bequests. So for those people that pass on, that want to leave things, they're going to be leaving $1,000 of their estate, or $5,000 here. It may be going to different accountancy firms, and again, law firms. Again, if you know somebody that is that draws up wills and so forth, or contacting, you've got confidence in just calling up a law firm and say, hey, can you please put us as one of your suggestions to leave, even if it is $1,000. If we get 10,000 Australians every year leaving $1,000. Well, that's also going to help the sustainability. So bequests, as yuck as that may sound, people are looking for, and it may be that someone has had, been in a situation similar to the girls in Thailand, or they know someone that has, or they've been travelling in their, they've had the privilege of being able to travel throughout their lives, and now they're either sick and their lives are coming to an end, that want to give back and be a part of something. They might want to be a part of this team. So just think about that as well. Payroll giving. If you are in HR, you know someone in HR, you know someone that is in the staff social clubs, or you are yourself, or you can go to someone, start getting people to do payroll giving, even if it's for a short term, and saying, hey, this is something I'd like to support for 3 months. And it might be $1 a fortnight, $5 a fortnight, But if you get 1,000 people donating $1 a fortnight, and for just an example, I first got involved in charitable work when I was 17, and I joined what was then known as the Miss Australia Quest, raising money for the spastic centres around Australia, which is now cerebral palsy industries, or cerebral palsy alliances, in particularly for Queenslanders and northern New South Wales people, the miners. They make a bucket load of money and they want to be a part of something. We did payroll giving, and that helped me become one of the highest. I was the highest fundraiser for New South Wales, and it was $1 a week. And this is back in '86, so it's a long time ago. So $1 was worth a lot more to them back then. That was a lot of money, whereas $1 now, hopefully it is just, okay, look, I'm happy to do $1 for 3 months. If you have 1,000 miners giving $1 a week for a 3-month period, again, it's all these exponential funds that can go into the actual buying of the land, and hopefully through the crowdfunding and so forth, we can do all the legalities and pay to get the stuff that we unfortunately can't get donated through time or through expertise because it needs to be filed and so forth. But payroll giving is a really simple way of doing it, and getting into particularly those people that are in Queensland that may have access to the mining industries, whether you agree or don't agree with whether it's coal seam gas, whether it's mining, whether it's minerals, whatever it may be. Let's get them to give back to us and give back to the charity.
Great idea.
To also have is people put their hands up for, on the night we'll have some tables at the back, which will be the wine shop, and that's about finding your wine. It may be, we're selling courses, we're selling all these wonderful products that Shah has produced for us and our colleagues, and hopefully for our own businesses and our clients. So, a percentage of can go back to that, and they'll create and they can sell the raffle tickets, major auction items, and managing the silent auction items. Where we actually do, I'll have a team coming in that will bring in all the silent auction items. So that's one thing we won't need to worry about, but it may just be supporting that team to make sure that if there's any questions asked about the event and what we're doing, where the money's going, that you're the spokesperson for that. So we need a Y-Shop manager and their team to help create and organise, and maybe little raffles that we start selling as of next month. So it's things that we can start now, not necessarily just on the night, but it might be things that we say, okay, we get a car donated now, or we have to pay the cost. So say it's a $30,000 car and we get it for wholesale, which I'll make this up, it's $12,000. We still need to fund that $12,000, so we need to start selling those tickets now. Or it may be that if we sell the tickets for $200 on the night and we sell 40 of them, we paid for the car and we've raised. And someone in that room may have spent $300 on tickets, but they will go home with the car. So there's those sort of things to think about as well. Tombola items. Now, for whoever doesn't know or hasn't seen a tombola, this is a very elegant way, and it's also surprising, and it's being a bit cheeky and fun. What we need are a minimum of 500 prizes. I'd like to go to 1,000. Each prize will be valued at a minimum of $20. So, for example, it could be a CD. It could be 10 kilos of Brussels sprouts. It could be a holiday. Well, someone might like Brussels sprouts, not me, but
No, not me either.
But it might be a fruit basket. It might be flowers. It might be Woolworths that comes up with some grocery items, $20 worth of groceries, Coles vouchers, all those sorts of things. But some of those things may be, go to Kogan and get a TV that's worth $799, and the equivalent for Sony is worth $3,000. So when you buy this beautifully, what we'll do, and we're going to need to have teams leading up to this event, and so as I said, the weeks prior to are going to be quite busy, and we might need to just, for those of us in Sydney and Melbourne and Northern Territory and Queensland, we might need to have workshops at someone's house, and then whoever's going up will fly it up there and get the scrolls all done. But it means buying beautiful, or getting donated, beautiful paper which we print, and maybe get Officeworks to give us $100 worth of free printing, and black and white. Then we buy a beautiful ribbon from Spotlight, maybe get that sponsored. We do each one up, and then within the fundraising committee, the people that are a part of that team, and maybe they can get their friends or their daughters and their sons involved, late teenagers and so forth, to actually walk around on the night with beautiful baskets selling these beautifully scrolled tombola items. So what you do is you buy this tombola, it's $20, and you open it up, and yay, I won the Brussels sprouts. Or yay, I've got a trip to Bali, You don't know. So someone on the table beside you will be getting this magnificent prize, and someone could go, actually, you know what, I really wanted that CD of whatever it is, or that DVD of, inspirational DVD, Conversations with God, which is signed by Neil Donald Walsh. It's getting things like that are, some things are priceless. It might be, a sporting person that or someone knows, and we get a bat that's signed by the Australian cricket team. It's all these things. Now that may be something actually we'll look at that. We might put that in the major auction, or we may get the silent auction guys to add that to their stuff. So there's no idea is a bad idea. It's about thinking outside that square, but we need a minimum of 500 prizes. So if we had 10 people, and if it's your girlfriends and your hubbies and you get them involved, and we had everyone bring in over the next 23 weeks one prize a week, but over 1,000 prizes. Sales manager and team. Now what that part of the fundraising committee will be is someone that loves sales, is passionate about what we do, and is going to go out there and start making calls, particularly to corporates. It might be to financial institutions. Those guys have money, they want to give back, and it's about even then getting them to do little fundraising events. They buy their table, whether they're VIP tables, which with egos in the financial markets, they quite often have big egos, which are lovely. They're prepared to spend their money, they want to look good, but then they'll also say, okay, well, let's make competition. So maybe we can talk about actually having competition. So if there's, say, 5 or 10 corporate tables paying $1,000 a head, those corporate teams also then get to fundraise. We'll have a prize for the highest fundraising table, and they might be doing their own fundraising over the next 20 weeks by the time we get this out there and launched. So we need the sales manager to come up with concepts and work with me to make that happen, and then obviously a team underneath them to sell event ticket sales. And as Shara and I have discussed, we don't want just people that if you think, oh, I know this person's got money, that they can afford to buy the ticket at $2.95. We want the people that have money to buy the $1,000 tickets, or the people that have $2.95 that they're willing to then spend on the night and buy at least 5 tombolas and 2 tickets for the car. And we want the add-on sales to be sort of, $500 a head, if that makes sense. So you want to be selling the sizzle and selling the fact that this is going to be creating such opportunities that we will go out of our way to promote for them, particularly on the night, but also by getting media involved. If anyone has any contacts within the media, be it press, print, social media, bloggers, all that sort of stuff, come our way and let us know. But someone we want to step up, and they will obviously work hand in hand with the head of the fundraising committee, the fundraising manager, and Shah, Russ, and myself. Admin team again for all the fundraising initiatives and generating.
Di, just quickly, sorry, one quick question just come through from Russ, just asking, do we need to have the official charity set up before we start to approach companies?
Not necessarily, as long as you say that you're in the midst of doing it.
Okay.
We raised a lot of money for quizzes prior to, and it was mainly within the Christopher Howard, sort of in every state and country, and people were really, they bought into it, and that's what this is about now too. It's finding friends, it's finding people that are already connected in the way, to go to people they know within these businesses and go, this is what we're doing. It is in the midst.
As long as we don't accept the funds yet. The minute we accept the funds.
You can accept them as long as you don't, as long as it goes into a fund whereby it's totally transparent, and we have the auditor, and that's why I'd really like to have a CPA as your finance treasurer. It'll all be legal above board, and it takes away any, I suppose, it just gives total transparency. Because we're not saying it's tax deductible. It's like if this is, just say this is your personal thing, and it's or I'm raising funds, and I have done this personally. I decided to, a girl came to me, it was about 3 weeks before Christmas. She had had a snowboarding accident, and I've told Shah about this. She became a quadriplegic. She didn't think she'd ever walk again. She was an avid snowboarder. After 6 months, she started to feel, she every day she worked at it, her little toe wiggled. She then, obviously through a lot of rehab and so forth, she was still a complete quadriplegic internally, so all internal organs were, below the neck, couldn't be used, but she actually taught herself to shuffle. Within about 4 years, she could actually hold a pen and start to write. And anyway, this fundraiser, she needed to go over and to Salt Lake City on the 16th of January. She came to me as to the last week of November, saying that she needed to find about 25 grand to get across to the US, and obviously she had a lot of needs that needed to be addressed. She needed gear and all that sort of stuff. And so I just said, okay, right, we're doing it. I hired a venue. Everybody that got invited knew that it was, okay, it was, and at that stage it was through my own personal PayPal account. As long as you're transparent, and if you get audited and they see that money goes in, or if every cent goes back out to that charity, it's totally transparent, and businesses would know that, and they'll have access to those funds, because they will want to know if they are going to be donating from the organisation, but more importantly, if they do a big fundraiser and they talk about what corporate social responsibility they're doing in the marketplace, they'll want to showcase that in their annual reports. So
yeah, absolutely. It's just Tanya Zayeda had some bad press where she was accepting funds for a charity that wasn't registered, and she got fined. So that we just wondered maybe she's done something that wasn't transparent, and that's why she got called out. But
transparency there. Okay. And you obviously we need this legal team, and we also need the treasurer to make sure that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and that every cent that comes in, but it has to go into a separate account.
Absolutely. And I think at this stage, while we're still working out the roles and the ones that do come on board and say, okay, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that tonight or tomorrow, it's a matter of just starting to put the word out there. We don't physically have to receive the cash right now, but we can have it pledged so that within the next month, when it is all set up, well, then we can start accepting.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're up to admin team for all the fundraising. Yep.
So for those people that just still want to be part of the fundraising thing, but they may not have done it before, but they think, you know what, I want to be the support for those people that are doing the major gifts and knowing who have we spoken to, who has pledged, who hasn't pledged, and they can put it all together and go, oh my God, we've actually covered off, oh my gosh, all the food that we need because we're going to be dealing, you know, or maybe we've got 2,321 tombola items. Okay, stop focusing on that, guys. Let's go to, you know, whatever. And we need someone to be, you know, generating, looking for research, generating necessary licenses, maybe working with Russ and the not-for-profit division set team. And like lottery licenses, if we on the night run a competition or leading up to, if we're doing raffles and those sorts of things, there are different laws in each state. And Queensland, there are different laws that if it's under $5,000 and if it's a game of chance, for example, if I think we've all gone and filled out in 25 words or less, write this, well, you don't have to get the license. If it's fill in the blanks for, say, the word Christmas and it's C blank, M blank, you know, whatever it is, you feel, you know, that's Christmas. That's a game of skill, which is, again, it's not chance. So you don't need a license generally. South Australia is very different. That's probably our one state. Tasmania and South Australia are the two hard ones.
After our conversation a month or whatever ago, I actually rang as you suggested. So I did ring and confirm, and they said no, it's fine. You don't need anything for that.
Yeah. So this is good. You know, but if we have the car, then that probably would.
It's over that amount.
So it is about someone that's really happy to just go and do that little research, but keep everything that we're doing again. So it goes back to the legal stuff, the setting up of if we ever get someone that goes to say, okay, well, you get fined. Well, hang on a second. We've done everything the right way. We aren't touching the money. We're not saying that people are going to get tax deductibility for it. This is a crowdfunding. It's a social, and again, it's not charity. If we're going down the social enterprise group, this actually is about social enterprise within the community.
Perfect. Okay, and then telemarketing?
Telemarketing is about, it may be someone has an idea, and just an example of this was I was volunteering for a charity that couldn't afford marketing, and so I was kind of on their board and stuff, and we actually started running a thing called Magic Mania. And what that was, we had telemarketers that rang up and got people to pledge $50, and what that $50 was for one child to attend a magic show. So obviously there were costs that had to come out of that $50, and I think it was again a 60-40 split because by law you had to do the 60-40. So 40% of that $50 was going in. We could do something like that if someone is in the event industry or knows somebody that could do a magic show and that wants to get on the phone and start ringing businesses to say, okay, we're going to now go to special schools, or we're going to go to the Down Syndrome Association or Autism Spectrum or whatever. And what that $50 was for one child to attend. Yeah, so they get a free ticket. Magic show. Yeah, so obviously there were costs that had to come out of that $50, and I think it was about.
What's happened there?
Oh, we're recording us. I'm sorry, I was asking a question. 40% of that $50 was going in. We could do that if someone is in
I don't know why that's replaying itself.
Do a magic show and that wants to get on the phone and sorry guys, technical difficulties. Businesses to say, okay, we're going to
I don't know how that's happened. Have you got a computer open that's logged in as well?
Spectrum or whatever. What that $50 was for one child to attend. Yeah. I'm talking to myself.
Yeah. I think you've got maybe another computer open that's playing the live link.
We're recording us. I'm sorry. I was asking a question. Percent of that $50 was going in. We could do that if someone is in the
event. I don't know why that's replaying itself.
Do a magic show and then wants to get on the phone. And sorry guys. Technical difficulties. Businesses to say, okay, we're going to.
I don't know how that's happened. Have you got a computer open that's logged in as well?
Spectrum or whatever. What that $50 was for one child to attend. Yeah. I'm talking to myself. Yeah.
I think you've got maybe another computer open that's playing the live link.
We're recording us. Sorry.
Di, would you mind just hanging up your call and dialing back in? Is that okay? I'm going to keep the webinar live because I don't know where that feed's coming from. Can you still hear me? Sorry, guys. Just bear with us while we sort this out. I've never had that happen before.
Let's get Jai to log back in. Just think of any questions while Jai's getting logged back in. Just think of any questions you've got and write them down so that when we get back on, we can answer them. You there, Jai?
Yeah, just trying to.
That was
Can you hear me?
strange. Can.
Hello? I think I'm back.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Sorry,
All right,
guys.
so that had a mind of its that had a mind of its own. Okay, so we've gone through telemarketing, so I'm just going to jump onto the next page and just quickly run through these things. There's no questions at this stage, but maybe as we keep going, there'll be some that come up. Okay, so off we go to events.
Look, the event manager is going to be on the is basically leading up to the event. I want someone that, particularly as I'm not in Queensland, will liaise, and so obviously I'm going to project manage everything, but I want someone to take ownership, and obviously Shara and Russ and I'll be working across everything, but I'd love someone to put their hand up, and it may be a couple of you that want to event manage and project manage the actual event itself, and there's going to be obviously several components to the event. We'll be having a VIP. As I said, there's sort of different levels of ticketing. So the events committee, the event manager will be, say between, and depending upon what time the conference part finishes, we need to let people go home, we'll go back to their rooms and get dressed up and all that sort of stuff. But then we'll start, if you want to have access to some key business people, entertainers, celebrities, all that sort of stuff, they're going to be at the VIP pre-dinner drinks and so forth, and then we'll cut that to probably, maybe 50 people, but they're going to pay for that. They'll be VIPs and be a part of that. So there'll be another smaller event going on prior to the big event. So there'll be maybe so we'll need a team that is inside. There'll be the floor manager that will have a headset on and going, okay, now we're going to the live auction. Now we have entree being served. Now we have some speeches. Now we have some fun things going on. We want gophers that are going to run to and fro, that are going to look after the fundraising part of, so it might be sons and daughters and uni students and stuff that you trust, obviously, because they'll be holding money. But there'll be team leaders. There'll be a lead stagehand. So when our lead speaker and our MC and so forth come on, there'll be a lead usher, but there'll be teams underneath that as well. That if you're someone that just wants to be told what to do and be there on the night and support whatever we need doing, or if you want to step up into a more of a leadership role, please just stick your hand up and say, look, actually, I think I'd be really good at that. But think of an event, and these roles will be created, and obviously I've got in my head what I think that can be, and I know that within a couple of the people that are on this call now, that there are a couple of you that are phenomenal.
Oh, Tracy's just popped her hand up. So Tracy is from Sydney, and you met her at the last event. But for those that don't know, gorgeous Tracy is one of our new One Network members as well, but also she's in event management, so she's got a lot of event management skills, and she's just said, happy to help with my event management skills and supplies on hand in my all tied up wedding artisans crew. Let me know where I would best fit in. So Tracy, we will find somewhere, don't you worry. Thank you so much.
Yay. And we need
consider yourself fit.
You're fitted. You are so fitted. And look, an event volunteer manager too. So what I want is they're kind of like the crew director, and they're going to be looking after all the incredible people, and it may be some of you that need, I want to make sure that you're supported. I want you to feel like you're not just slave labour and you're being there to, this is about being fun, it's about increasing your skill levels and looking at something new. But the event volunteer manager, you need to be the person that's going to step up and lead these people, and on the night there will be things that don't go to plan, so you need to be able to facilitate the calmness and the excitedness, and make sure that all your team are completely up, so that every guest has no idea about all the the small little things that go unspoken that you go, oh my God, we're all going, oh my goodness, and that will happen in anything. If you've been to a wedding, you know that happens. So we want an event volunteer manager to look after all our incredible people that are going to be working with us on the night, and also helping, because we want volunteers. We'll have someone attached to the MC. We'll get them water and look after them, and you could build a friendship with that person, and it might be someone that you never thought you'd have access to. It could be a celebrity, and we're still talking about who that's going to be. And if you have suggestions, all of this, you will have roles. That doesn't mean that you can't suggest great ideas. Okay, so an event volunteer manager, a volunteer recruitment leader, which is a little bit different. So that's actually getting the volunteers on board, maybe going to universities, maybe going to businesses, maybe going to Volunteers Queensland, Volunteers New South Wales, which are bodies in that of themselves, to get people to come in on the night, to volunteer to find tombola items, to volunteer to get food donated, to volunteer to get the tablecloths, decor, whatever it may be that we need on the night. So we need the recruitment leader for that, so that the event manager and the event volunteer manager can then look after those people. We need a project admin manager and team. Again, very similar to what I mentioned above. Insurances, APRA licenses, which is, okay, if we're playing music on the night, or we have a band that's coming that generally they would supply their own APRA license, but sometimes they may not. So it's just your liquor licenses if we need those over and above the hotel. But at this stage, I think that should be all part and parcel of what that's doing. But the project manager is going to make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and work obviously in conjunction with the other two committee managers' heads regarding all the admin project stuff as well. So again, if someone specifically wants to be the admin project manager for the event committee, which will be supporting the event manager and volunteer manager, that is awesome. We're looking at people that can assist us with the theme, the props, the decorations and flowers, and obviously the event manager and Shah, Russ and myself will be obviously quite involved in that. But we want you guys, if you've got the ideas and you're doing it, we also want to know that you're going to be good at what you do, so we want to let you do it. Okay, we're not here to micromanage by any stretch, but we just need to know that if you're putting your hand up for it, that is something that you go, you know what, actually, I've got a friend in the flower markets and I'm going to get, this and this donated, or I can get it at cost, or I can get it at cost and I know where I can get that cost paid for by someone else. So it's just about everybody. We're going to cross-pollinate, I suppose, into everyone's respective roles, but someone needs to take ownership of everything and of those individual roles.
Yeah, that's it.
Food and beverage, which I have discussed in some of the other areas, and that will also be, potentially, if you've got that skill set on food and beverage, maybe with the hotel we can say, okay, well, we don't need your head of food and beverage. We're going to put our own in, working with your team, which will save us dollars in paying staff if we don't get that donated. So there's lots of things to do. It could also be that you work in food and beverage, and that for tombola gifts you can get cases of wine donated that we can auction off, or that we can sell as tombola items, or whatever it may be. So there's lots of areas within the food and beverage side of it as well. It may also be that you negotiate with the hotel. So obviously at the moment Shah is the point of contact, and because she's regularly dealing with them at the Intercontinental. But if your specialty is dealing in food and beverage and you can go and talk to the chefs and so forth, well, we'd love to talk to you. Or if you know someone that has that role that could even come with us or go with Shah or with Tracy and myself, whatever it may be, to make sure that we have a menu designed. Maybe it could be that we get 5 chefs in from 2 hat restaurants from around the country that come in and actually go into that hotel and cook. If there's things like that, don't think out of the question, oh, we just have to use the chefs in the hotel. We can negotiate with those, with the hotel, and if you are in that environment or know someone that is, it's going to make it easier to make the synergy happen, to go, oh, well, our head chef would love to work with Curtis Stone, or our head chef would love to work with, whoever the hottest chef of the day is that wants to come in and help us.
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
Chef from Thailand. Who knows?
That's right.
Yeah. Guest liaison officers, venue liaison officers. Guest liaison officers is I want someone to head that up, or a couple of people. It might not be yourself. It may be, or maybe you and a girlfriend, or you and your husband. That you're out the front. So when people start arriving, you check their names off, and you then forward them on to the ushers, and you tell them where to go. You talk to them about what's going on, and just make them feel so appreciated for coming along to this event. It is really about just showcasing who the Wine Network are and what Sharanis Orphanage is all about. So you're going to be the spokesperson, essentially, and you're going to make sure that if any guest has a problem throughout the night, loses a jacket, wants to know where they can put their mobile phone, their car parked, whatever it may be, you're going to be liaising with the venue liaison officer very closely and the hotel. But it is about the customer experience, and it's about getting every single person, every single guest, before they even walk into that room, to feel that this is a magical night that they are so entrenched in, and that we are so grateful for their support, but they really feel a part of, and they want to go in and they want to support it even more. So it is quite a critical role. Venue liaison officers would have a head and maybe a couple of people that can be runners, that if something happens, if we need more toilet paper, if we need there's a spill, or there's someone that's not feeling well that needs to go to first aid, or if you know anyone, we'll obviously have St John's ambulance type people there, because that's really important to have them. If someone's had a bit too much to drink, and how it's going to be all that sort of stuff that we need to just encourage them just to have a bit of rest and maybe some water, all that sort of stuff. Okay, and talking to the I suppose OH&S and the hotel managers to make sure that everything's going to run smoothly. That will also take pressure off the hotel to feel that we're not just going to be running a riot type event where everyone's going to get drunk. And that is just something that I think that some people might feel really comfortable in doing that role. Audiovisual manager and team. Now the audiovisual manager would be the person that is obviously they might be audiovisual. They might be able to create a video in the lead up to it, and it might be of different things in the Wine Network. It might be going out and actually shooting some video of one of our, as I said before, top financial backers or teams that pay $1,000 a head for a $10,000 table, and they're doing fundraising. So we go and take snippets of what they're doing within their own business, and again, they can use that footage. We give it to them, and they can use that in their annual reports, online. We get it to, obviously, whatever we shoot, we have 100% rights to, and we can use it in any way that we can. We can forward it out on YouTube. We can do a beautiful montage with sensational music underneath it, and again, that goes back to getting APRA licenses for music, Australian Performing Rights, and all that sort of stuff. But this audiovisual manager will also be mixing the lighting and the sound for the bands that we get. I'd like a mic runner, so if we're asked, when we're doing the auction, or when we're doing, if someone has a question about something during the video, or we want to have, we might have a round table, sort of a panel at the end with some of our guest speakers and our celebrities and so forth, and Shah up there talking about, why we're doing what we're doing for the Wine Network, but also for Sharanis Orphanage. And there might be someone in the audience that wants to say, okay, well, what's this about? Or I'd like to offer this. And on the night, people get quiet, particularly after a few beverages. They might go, oh, you know what, guys? I'm going to donate 2,000. And look, I was saying to Shah, this one with another girl that I did a fundraiser for, and her doctor was there, and she actually was an amputee, both legs, after contracting meningococcal disease at 17. And she actually became Australia's first female Paralympic skier, and the other girl actually became the world's first Paralympic snowboarder. But this girl needed special legs, and they would have to be replaced every year or two, depending on whether she was doing mogul hills or what have you. And I kind of coerced her doctor into donating Legs for Life, which was over 250,000 legs. So there are things like that we want mic runners for. So if we can see, and that's where also your floor managers and you'll have the teams walking around hearing and listening to things. They go, okay, you know, and we'll get it on the headphones and we'll go, okay, you know, Tracy, we really need your help. This person on table 10 is talking about this. So we'll get the mic runner to run to that person and say, hey, we just heard you having a bit of a chat. Would you like to share it with the audience? It's just that you know, this audio-visual manager is going to have a lot of responsibility, but we want to make this as professional, entertaining, but also generating an expansion growth within our objectives, which is raising funds and raising for Sharanis Orphanage. So back of your mind, if you aren't that person, but you think, oh my God, my son's best mate's sister or brother is doing that at uni and they are so good, hey, give them a chance. You know, really open to how that works, and maybe there might be someone else that's more experienced that works with them and it becomes a mentor. So it is about everything that we're doing within this event is also about showcasing and building everybody's businesses, but also about creating the most fun, professional, sustainable outcome that every event gets bigger and better every year, and that there's lots of little events going on in the backgrounds prior to this big event.
Definitely. Okay, and just no questions as yet. Maria's put her hand up for a guest liaison officer, and that's something that she like hearing the role, definitely that's got her name written all over it. So that's fine. And it just to probably the marketing stuff, some of it we've already covered, but maybe just to go through that quickly, as it's 8:30 up here already, and then we'll have some time for questions. No, it's great. We need to go through it, but we'll hopefully have some time for questions. Otherwise, we'll shoot over to the Facebook group and people can ask questions, or they might need to sleep on it and come through with some emails tomorrow. But yeah, definitely.
Marketing committee, this is critical. It's promoting the event. It's generating media. I would like a PR manager and a team, and obviously Annette up there is doing so much show already. If she wants to continue in that role and then oversee that, that's fantastic. I'll be doing it in Sydney. If someone in Melbourne or Northern Territory also wants to do that, that'd be fantastic. I want to find high-profile ambassadors, and I'd like someone to be a celebrity scout. At the moment, Shara and I are trying to get Shara. Are you okay if I say who we'd like to have?
Yeah, absolutely. No, nothing is secret on this group, Shara.
Burness, we'd love to get, and I've got some feelers out there for her. But if anyone else, because she has been busy based at different stages, if anyone else knows how to get directly to her to get her to come on the night, she would, because of her background with adoption and really being an advocate for children, I just think she'd be a phenomenal ambassador. If there's local celebrities or high-profile people that you know that you think would be great to have there on the night, even if we can just use their names and they come along on the night, they buy their ticket, or we comp them a ticket because we get that sponsored, and they will tell all their networks, and whenever they get a chance, they become an ambassador for this event. So they actually help. You know, it might be Anna Bligh, for example, from Queensland. If she really liked this and we got her as an ambassador, she's going to get into networks that maybe none of us can get into. So think about that. We want a speaker, ambassador, liaison officer, which is basically looking after those people, and we need to find someone that can is quite happy to talk about the, you know, if anyone is, we're going to, obviously Shah is the face of Sharanis Orphanage, and we want Shah to be obviously looked after on the night as well, but also other speakers and the ambassadors to be looked after. Yes. Social marketing manager and a team underneath them, so that we've got something going out through all the different, whether it's something, and it has to be, you just can't spam for the sake of spamming because people will just, they won't read it. But if you've got new news, or we've got, hey, look, we're looking for this, can anyone help? Getting into places like some of the media places where people put on, okay, I need goods and services for an event that I'm running, or you know, getting onto TV as product placement. There are companies that want to get their product out there. Well, they may want to get their product into our event. So it's social marketing to them. And if you want to sort of manage that process, I'd love a manager to do it. And then I want a team of people that get it out there through Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, all those different things, which will help us get goods and services, which again goes back to the events committee and also goes back to even the other two committees. So social media, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could, get some people from a legal team, finance team, treasuring team, they can start putting this out there. So it's actually going out to, finding those major gifts, all that sort of stuff. So please think about that from a social marketing manager and then a team. If you want to do the team bit and not manage it, great. Marketing manager, that basically means thinking about any sort of, you'll be running and working with, over sort of seeing the promotions, the media, the PR, the ambassador, celebrities, all of that sort of stuff. And it's about marketing this event out there. And it might be saying, okay, team, I'm not asking one person to do all of this. It is going to take a village to make this happen. And it may not be the immediate Y network village. It is about stepping into our own private networks, and it's about people that just want to do some philanthropy in the community. It's for some people that want to maybe use this as a vehicle for their own business, and can use the Y network and Sharanis Orphanage as that vehicle to open doors. But that marketing manager and team needs to get through those doors. So it's about coming up with processes and promotions and tactics and campaigns that we can start getting out there. Sponsorship team, again, that kind of goes back to your fundraising committee, events committee, and the marketing committee. Everyone's going to sort of cross over. The sponsorship team then need to go into any leads that we may get to go in and say, okay, well, we'd like you to buy a table for $10,000. If you want $20,000 table, well, then you get the naming rights for the auction. So it could be the P&O option for P&O Cruise. It could be P&O Sharanis Orphanage auction. So they get to lead that from a PR perspective. That goes back to the marketing, promotions, media, PR manager and team. And then go, oh my gosh, great news through Instagram, and the social marketing person gets on that. P&O have just come on board as, Sharanis Orphanage's auction sponsor, or whatever it may be. But the more sponsorship we can get, we are aiming at a minimum of $100,000 to $150,000 for this event. Now, through ticket sales alone, we should be able to get over 50. Through the tombola, we should be able to get over 20. Live auction, I'm hoping 20 to 50, and then sponsorship anywhere from whatever that may be. So it's not too big an ask, but it is 23 weeks. I want people.
That's right. It's just really going to be absolutely all hands on deck, and our goal is to raise the 100 plus, so that we are then able to go straight to Thailand and start to set up the processes there, get the approvals, and also purchase the land, and then start the process of getting the designs done, because we really need to have the land purchased and designs locked away and approved, and all the government procedures in place over there, because technically in Thai law we're technically building a childcare centre, a kindergarten, so it's the same requirements for that as for an orphanage. So we need to have all of that done so that early next year we can start construction, because once the construction, which does take time in Thailand because of all the processes behind it, then of course the fit out needs to take place, and we want to give ourselves plenty of time because of the approval processes and things that can go wrong and the way that the Thai law works and all the rest of it. So if we can really get the 100,000 or more at this event, if everybody's willing to put in a fair effort and drag in some friends, or you don't have to be a Y Network member, because there are some people on the call tonight, and also some people who aren't on the call tonight but are going to be part of the committee, because one of them is actually a travel agent friend of mine in Victoria. She's actually doing a 500-kilometre bike ride at the moment, raising money for another orphanage in Thailand. So, but she's got travel connections, she's got contacts within that with airlines and hotels and cruise companies. So you don't need to be a Y Network member, and some of you aren't. So please keep in mind that if you know people after hearing the roles tonight, and you go, my God, my friend is this, and she's been looking for something to get involved with, then please, yes, ask them to be involved. And I will share this link in the orphanage group on Facebook after the recording's done tonight. So please feel free to, if you think someone might be interested, feel free to share this link with them so that they can hear the webinar and listen to all the roles, and then feel free to rope them in, because there are a lot of people out there looking to be involved with a charity that they can get involved with from the ground up, and that they know the heart behind it. They know the people involved. It's not some big organisation with all this fancy branding and offices everywhere and salaries. It's just us, you know, a group of people who are wanting to make a difference in these girls' lives, and it's something that they can physically touch and it's tangible, and they could come over to the orphanage and stay and, you know, and be involved with the girls' lives as much as they want. So there's a lot of people out there when you start talking that go, my gosh, I can actually be directly involved with this, and it's a personal small project that I know I can make a difference and I'll be noticed. So there's lots of people wanting to make that difference. So please feel free to spread the word.
And I think just adding to that, I mean, this is still a growing and evolving setup, and you know, we're in phase 1, and this is critical because we need to do it right. We need to make sure that everyone involved gets, you know, you guys need, if you're going to be working hard, and believe me, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be that such a reward throughout doing it personally and professionally. But phases 2 and 3 will additionally add to, you know, the excitement of it, and as Shah was just saying, be a part of it. Come to the orphanage. You know, I've got a girlfriend that's going over and giving up a year as a counsellor to go work in Cambodia next year, and I've spoken to her about this, and she said, well, you know, maybe I'll do a year over in Thailand after that, because the orphanage won't be open when she's doing it. And this is awesome, because what I love about her too is that she knows you just can't go in there for a weekend if you want to, you know, or 2 weeks and leave these kids. These are the sort of stuff in phases 2 and 3 that maybe you'll have the opportunity to go in if you are a psychologist, or you're a teacher, or you're a designer or an architect. You can spend months over there, and maybe we create, as the charity grows, we have, you know, big sister roles, so that it's kind of like World Vision, where you sponsor a child from 0 to 18. Yeah, with World Vision, you don't get any contact. Well, you know, we need to work out the laws and all that sort of stuff, but maybe, you know, you can continue on with that relationship, because those girls are going to be the next generation, helping the younger generations of the girls that are going to go through. And that's what we want. It's about the sustainability, and it's about, you know, paying it forward, which we hope these girls will do as well. But it's about us also having that opportunity to be a part of it in so many more ways than in, I suppose, government organised charities, because they've had to set it up the way they have for, you know, obvious reasons. But we've got to build this so that it's going to be the most beneficial to all of the stakeholders, but also to the girls.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Look, guys, I know that there's a few people that have put your hands up, and a few people have said, I can do this, I can do that. I think the best thing to do from here, and some of you are saying, I want to help, I'm not sure which role. So I think the best thing to do from here is, our 3 email addresses are on the back, so you can contact Di as well, and of course you can email me, and you've got Russ's email there as well. So I think what we should all do now is, because for Di, like, it's getting really late in Sydney, and it's you know, getting 8:45 here, I think what we'll do is, we've given you the overview. For some of you who've already kind of clearly seen where your role can be, great. Send us an email and let us know what that is. So what Russ will do now is actually do a bit of a flow chart, and he's listening, so he's just been jobbed into this, but he's actually going to do a bit of a flow chart of the roles that we need, and then as people send in their emails and contact us, please copy Russ at least on all the emails, and then we can sort of update Di, because we don't want to bombard you, because I know this is something you're also doing out of love. But if you at least copy Russ and Russ can make sure that you're plugged into this what do we call, organisational chart, thank you. And then we can look at the roles. And then for those that have still got questions and say, I want to be involved desperately, but I don't know what my role could be, then certainly send us an email or ask questions in the Facebook group, or for those that have my number, please just call me and let's have a chat through, so that we can see what your skill set is, because there's always going to be something for you to do. And maybe it's just a conversation with either myself or Di, or even Russ, and saying, okay, here are my skills, where do you think they would fit best? And yes, Russ, you're going to do that. Yeah, just, I think that would be better, don't you think, Di? Just so everyone can digest everything and then come back with questions.
And you know, as we're saying, so many of these roles are cross-contextual, like they're going to cross over. So don't think, oh, I want to do a bit of that and I want to do a bit of this.
Yeah, well, you can.
You can, and we'll put you into specific roles that you might be titled that, but it doesn't mean you can still be a part of this.
Right. Exactly, and it's about literally with a project like this, guys, and I'm just so humbled and honoured that you've even, thrown your hand up for it, and not knowing really what you're going to be doing, but you're just on board. So, with a project like this, it's literally all hands on deck, and it is a matter of, you might be doing this one day, and then next week we ring you and say, hey, this thing's really behind and that's really ahead, can you jump over here? So it is going to be a matter of kind of doing what needs to get done, because the ultimate outcome is we can all sit back after that event on the night and have a glass of wine and say, my God, look at us, we raised this amount of money and our girls are going to benefit. So, and that's the thing we've got to keep in mind. And again, I just want to thank Di. I want to thank you so much for, I was so grateful to meet you at a One Network event in Sydney, and then we sat and connected and chatted for 3 hours, and it was like you were meant to fall into my life, and I'm just so grateful to have you on board with this project, because you know how to steer it in the direction that we want to take it. I want to thank Russ as well, because without him I couldn't do what I do, but also want to thank every one of you that have been on the webinar tonight for giving up an hour and a quarter now of your time, and just for really believing in this project, and ultimately we can make the difference in these 20 girls' lives. And I just think that's an incredible thing for us to do, and I know that we're going to open a lot more orphanages, but if we get this right, we'll then set ourselves up with a foundation to keep on growing and keep on helping more children in Asia, and that's ultimately what it's all about. So thank you all so much.
Absolute pleasure.
Thanks so much, Di. Look, I'll let everyone go, and jump over into the Facebook group if you've got any questions or comments. Otherwise, we'll look forward to talking to you all very soon. Good night, everyone. Have a good sleep. Bye.